pick Score. We'll see if Score can carry his team as we jump into pick and ban for game 1. KT gonna start off on the blue side here. Curious where they think the power lies on the side of BBQ.
Some of the champion picks that BBQ have excelled on are not ones you might expect. The Cho'Gath, a big pick for Crazy. He'll blind pick it on red side wherever possible. Trick's Kindred has actually been very impressive, but his Trundle pathing hasn't led to game wins for BBQ, but his pathing in general has been a lot better in the second round robin than it has been really any point in 2018. So I do like some of the respect that KT has shown. BBQ gonna ban away the Rakan, usually a blue side ban. The Swain priority in the LCK is down, the Nocturne priority is down. Taliyah is probably the final ban that you require, as I think Score is a really good Taliyah player, but teams are more and more leaving up basically anything except the Aatrox.
We're never gonna see Aatrox. It's not gonna happen until he gets nerfed. Taliyah will be the ban here. Just so much power if you can get her ahead. And the Sejuani will be the first pick here for Score.
We'll first pick it over another pick. Zoe, for example, is open. They're gonna look over the Zoe for now. I imagine that Yuka will be happy enough for Orianna or Azir into it. Speaking of Azir, could be an interesting consideration for KT as well, as Trick is gonna be going on to the Kindred. Already praised him for his Kindred. In team fights, something like a Gragas is usually taken, but they've already committed to Sejuani. Could be Gragas support from Mata, I guess. Anything to disengage the Lamb's Respite, always a smart choice.
As a deft fan sign, saying cutely, what are you doing, or what are you going to do? Maybe what is he going to play? It's definitely a question. Varus has been popping up more and more. It's his most played beside the Ezreal. Both have 7 games on it. He's been a little bit more effective on the Varus, though.
The current understanding among Korean pros I've spoken to is if you see mid-range threats, go for Comet Varus. If you see long-range threats, you really have a lot of different options. Varus is kind of always a pretty viable pick. We talked about Gragas compositionally against the we talked about the Gragas competition against the Kindred, so BBQ actually going to pair it. It's probably going to be support for Ignar and deny away another way to interrupt that Lamb's Respite. That's a pretty straightforward sign. Pew! One more time. Pew! And again. Come on. Pew! There we go.
I had to, you know, get a little bit higher there to appease the fans. Jace becoming a very common Phase 2 ban here on both sides.
You know what that means? Crazy wants to play his undefeated Gnar, baby, 3-0. Everyone wants to play Gnar. So BBQ will almost 100% play Gnar. I kind of want KT to leave it open to know what Smev wants to play into Gnar. I need data points, Valdez. We've seen the Quinn. It didn't win, and the lane wasn't quite as dominant as we might have expected. So let's see if KT will ban Gnar.
Please do it. I feel like Gnar is definitely something that was ignored for way too long, and then teams were like, hey, this is pretty good. Why don't we play this again? And, well, the results are massive. 74% win rates. I think it picked up a win in our first series as well, but they're going to ban away the Zoe instead, respecting the flex of the Swain.
So it could still be Gragas top, but big expectation is Gnar for Crazy. Let's see if the choice is actually enacted by Ghosty. Yasuo is open, and both these mid laners have popped off on Yasuo. They're actually going to flex the Gragas even longer and open up into a Gnar pick if they go for Azir now. Azir likely to be contested, and Temp says the blind Azir, it's been working out.
It's an interesting one coming in there. BBQ Olivers will be playing another bird champion. It's been looking pretty good. Let's see what KT want to fall back on.
We're seeing the Kog'Maw hovered here.
Deft is a troller.
You say that.
I don't believe.
This could be AP Kog'Maw, actually. But
what?
It's going to be AP Kog'Maw.
What? Okay. I didn't believe him.
Could also be Comet mid lane Varus also. So those are the two things it could be. There's no backline threat onto BBQ, sort of an Azir sec or the Gragas ultimate, but this is new.
Why is this the game against BBQ where you're going to try weird stuff with either AP Varus or AP Kog'Maw?
Because you got excited 2 days ago, and you were still excited today.
I mean, you know, I was confident that they were going to win, but then they want to prove me wrong. I understand they want to test some stuff, but definitely just leave that for the scrims. Usually when you're going up against a lower level team, just go standard and try to take them out, not flex your might here. But I guess I'm talking to KT. So you're holding your fan sign upside down. There you go.
Is it going to be Comet Varus in the mid lane, outranging Azir? An old matchup, Lethality Varus did well into Azir from outranging reasons, or will it be AP Cogmore? There's actually merit to both the ideas, so I'm very interested to see what we see out of KT Rolster. We won't know till 20 seconds. What's your money on, Valdez?
I'd say Varus mid. I feel like he can deal with the Azir a little bit better, and also just it's what we've seen in the past, right? That's a lethality Varus.
It's power of evil, baby.
You know, it's pretty good. We can see what kind of chunk damage that it does, especially in recent times here in League of Legends. And, well, you say, hey, let's play a passive game, build up a bunch of items. They don't have the Jace, but they do have that Varus from way back in spring 2017.
Power of evil, the monster mid lane Varus player that turned an entire meta his way. Cool to see the lethality Varus in the mid lane. It was already looking really good in the bot lane, so nicely done. KT are going to show us something new. It's also something that a lot of people will look very closely against, because the meta in Korea is turning towards this Azir picks.
Yeah, I mean, the Azir is going to be good. You wait until the late game. He can clear waves. He can do immense damage. I think the thing that I was curious about was the Kog'Maw. You know, you already have that really squishy Varus for the mid lane. Okay, I like it. You flex it, whatever. But then you get another squishy guy in the back line with the Kog'Maw. I really want to see if they can protect those two very, very squishy picks.
You do worry about a Shurima shuffle onto both the squishy Varus and Kog'Maw with no flash up. Goodbye will be those two guys exploding in the middle of a fight. And then KT lose. So we're going to see how that goes in the team fight. Gragas and also Azir will be looking for playmaking, but taking a lot of damage on the way. The poke is pretty damn big.
So guys, it looks like the game is finally ready. The countdown has started. Let's jump into KT versus BBQ. Here we go, match number 74. We're winding it down towards the end of the split here. And, well, Ignar looking for a big play onto UCal, but UCal... Oh,
if Swain gets here, Taunt Flash into Swain passive. Sorry, not Taunt Flash, Body Slam Flash into Swain passive could work, but Swain backs away. Ignar can't really threaten a Body Slam Flash because Varus is under turret. And Power of Evil started it. UCal will continue it. Mid lane, Comet Varus. This is a really strong build in the duo lane. In an outrange scenario, I think Varus would have been very strong against Gragas and Swain. We need something into Azir, though, and we get the Varus.
Curious to see also, can the Gnar...
oh, he got 100 as well.
He definitely does lose the trade there, but in the end of the day, I'm curious to see if we can see the win rate go up for the Gnar.
He got the sack of gold for 100. That's a real feels bad moment for Smeb.
End a mana pot.
Oh, this is some high roll. Crazy should really consider.
How about some extra
Yeah,
health?
well, he's doing really well here. Koreans aren't actually allowed to gamble, by the way. If you have a Korean passport,
way that they can.
You can't legally go to a casino, but you can play Klepto Gangplank. Maybe that's why his play rate is so high.
Yeah, you got that. You got Ezreal. It's the highest played champion in solo queue in Korea. I think we're beginning to figure out why. Trying to get their gambling fix. Meanwhile, Trick coming into the mid lane, just going to harass UCal down. It's not going to be a kill, but again, if it's Varus in the mid lane, you would love to get any extra harass damage.
And they actually draw out the magic damage shield there from UCal, from the sorcery tree. He's gone to Comet. It's sorcery inspiration. See those runes on the bottom there. Copy them at your leisure. Gathering Storm going to be on the Kog'Maw and the Gnar. No Gathering Storm. It is actually the Scorch, just to poke down the Varus as much as possible onto the Azir.
Scorch versus Scorch. Gathering Storm versus Gathering Storm on the bot side, but also Gathering Storm for Smeb up on the top side. UCal, you can tell he's played this matchup before. He just walks through the harass and says, I can trade back. And, well,
I saw him miss the last hit.
yeah, I didn't want to mention that. But, you know, he the trade was good. We can say that.
Tempters looked really good on the Azir after a down season, and here he goes,
Wow.
looking for an aggressive trade. This is bold.
He's trying to beat him in. The heal comes in, the flash forward from Trick.
He should get it here.
One extra
Wait,
auto.
nope.
Oh, it's just barely out of range. He would love to have, you know, 4 stacks by now.
Thought he would have the kill there. I think the auto red buff and also the E being fully damaged would have been enough, but not going to get the kill, and that is flash drawn out of Trick.
Heal for flash. And actually an extra flash, as UCal did have to flash out of that one. It looked silly, you know, everybody surely just lulling at Trick, calling him a bad player, you know, what do you like? And but then you have the Varus, who has no stacks on his corrupting pot and no summoners anymore. Definitely we could see a play happen, perhaps as Tempt hits level 6 with his own flash available.
The good news, though, is that Comet Varus in mid lane just presses Q next to his turret, kills minions from a long way away, and he can just stay out of threat range for the majority of the lane. It's not the entire time. If he ever auto attacks, I agree. Tempt can look for the punish, but you are also surprisingly safe. Whether it was the AP cog or the Lethality Varus mid lane, they definitely had outrange options.
We'll see if he can keep his range in the mid lane. It's going to be essential for him to stay alive there. The bottom lane, we always mention how Deft and Mata are just so oppressive. They always love to play forward. We can even begin to see that now on the Cogball versus Swain.
But they were outplayed by Prey and Gorilla against Kingzone a couple of days ago, so there's a bit of a bounce-back game for Deft and Mata. They haven't required many. Like you say, they have been fantastic in the laning phase so far in summer season, but after being down in that last matchup, you know they'll feel like they have something to prove today, and that has led to this Cogmore pick.
Look at how aggressive UCal is being here. He's just not even respecting it. He has score nearby, so he says, okay, well, Trick might not be here, but Control Ward and Trick being able to hop over the bush. Seems like UCal has a decent idea, though, as he was just walking into Trick, saying, come at me, as score was coming in. Wanted to bait him in.
All sorts of mind games with mid laners when it comes to walking up and threatening a jungle gank in scenarios like that. It had the deep vision that I believe Score placed at some point. Now UCal being a lot more respectful because he still thinks Trick is around mid lane. He'd be right that he'd be around that mid lane.
Mata's here, by the way. Seems like Cogball isn't the AD carry that needs help. It's the Varus in mid lane.
More doing very well in the trades in bot side, equal NCS compared to Swain. And consider that BBQ are double outranged by Cogmore and also the Varus. Yes, there are fights that BBQ wins, but consider how much damage you're taking to Bio-Arcane Barrage and Lethality Varus's poke before you actually get to commit. It is super mid to short range versus very, very long range from KT. So unless BBQ can take down some turrets and actually get some flanks, if it's in the open, if it's ARAM style, we know who won the ARAM draft.
Looks like BBQ are going to use this time to just go ahead and push into the Drake here. It's going to be the Ocean that they pick up very early on, so going to be fantastic for the laning, especially against the poke that KT have brought into the game.
Crazy just farms up. See if he can also turn back the wheel and remind us that by the end, Gangplank was winning the Gnar matchup more often than not. This map just doing Gnar things is all very expected. Maybe we should have predicted the lower Gnar priority because usually when we get to the second round, the Gangplank is banned. Because of this matchup, he's going to farm very happily. He has his Sheen. This map's already built for lane because he's going to take lots of Q trades. Ignar is super quick with a bit of mobility, but probably not going to find an entrance to top anytime soon.
Just hanging around, just seeing maybe if someone would come top, he'd be there in position. He's going to help out and just being there, his presence. The pings on the bottom side tell KT, though, that he is not there. Score looking to take away another mark away from the Kindred, who did back. I was paying attention. Kindred still only on 1 mark to start off the game. Looks like she was able to pick up just the 1 scuttle so far.
Good performance from Score. 3-1 on the Scuttle counter, which will be updated on the top side of your screen very soon. From that, no real punish on Yukar. He's got his heal for a movement speed. He'll have his flash back up soon. So Yukar gets the blue buff, very mana hungry. No sign of the mana mune, so it seems he's going to be blue buff reliant on this Varus build. There's been no tier 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, you know, just trying to do immense damage early on. Knows that he should have control over the blue buff. Trick looking to gank in the top side here. It's, you know, Crazy doesn't have much CC outside of a slow. It looks like they're just trying to bait him in here. Misses the barrel as Smeb just hops on his head and says, oh, what are you doing here? Okay, see you later.
So Juve have some good moments around dodging ganks. So speaking of dodging ganks.
Now, Temp does have the cleanse here. Is gonna take a short little shuffle to the top and say, all right, see you later, mate.
Optimistic, I would say, from Score. I think there was a 20% chance at maximum to hit that ult, and we knew, like you mentioned, Cleanse would be there to answer it. That means the rest of the lanes can play more aggressive. They know even if Sejuani comes, she does not have her ultimate for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really long cooldown as well. It's just, you know, even if you land it, you're not going to kill Temps. The Varus doesn't have enough burst damage. You know, it's not a LeBlanc. Would have much rather try to see it down in the bottom lane, actually, in tandem with the Alistar. Try to get your Kog'Maw ahead, but I suppose just not going to go for that play.
So let's talk a bit about the Kog'Maw, because actually it's another K champion that Deft has been playing in riskier scenarios than most people. The Kai'Sa priority has been really high for KT Rolster in recent memory. They dropped the Kai'Sa, another, you know, poor laning 2v2 champion, and they go for the Kog'Maw. You can say that BBQ, yes, you can think of an Azir play that gets there, but it should be pretty telegraphed. Ignar is going to be on the support Gragas, so won't be able to disregard damage and be poked pretty heavily if he tries to make a barrel play. So Deft just says, I want to stay backline, not reposition with the Killer Instinct. I don't respect the amount of backline threat BBQ's comp has with the Kindred and the GP. And he feels like he's going to be comfortable enough to fire down damage from the Kog'Maw. Definitely a different choice, but an interesting one to think about, as Kog'Maw priority outside of Ruler has been at an all-time low in the LCK.
Love the swagger of Mata down on the bottom side. Loves to get aggressive. Trick not able to get there, actually, to smite away the Scuttle. So it's 4-1 now in favor of Score. Say what you will about his ganks. He's got good Scuttle control. Mata able to save the control ward down here for just a moment until Trick comes in and helps out and makes it a 3v2. The mid lane, you know, it's just been a little bit of poking, but at least Tempt has been staying ahead in farm, has the most in the game. Took Biscuiteer too alongside the Corrupting Pot. Knew what he was going up against. It's been working out really well.
Runes-wise, nothing really to talk about. Just doing a quick scan around BBQ and KT's Keystones. Smeb pushing up Crazy. Got Crazy within 10 with Klepto. We know he has a gold lead. Score has his ult back up, but already see BBQ playing on the back foot very comfortably. Both of the 80 carry, well, both of the, I guess, awesome dudes, we should say, have rushed the Merc Tread, so very respectful first purchase by both Ghost and Deft. Expecting Deft to still go play the Ruin King into Rageblade. Seems like that's going to be confirmed. No real change in the Kog'Maw build recently.
Yeah, kind of expected KT versus BBQ to be a little bit more action-packed. We saw SKT versus Gen G have a ridiculous amount of kills in game number 3. And then we have just had KT farming up, just playing the poke champions, not really trying to get in there as we would expect. Smeb really trying to push Crazy out of the lane as much as possible. Misses the cannon for it. A bit unfortunate, but yeah, he really wants to dominate up in the top side and not let that Gangplank farm at all.
Bot side.
Here we go. He does have his stopwatch, but he's trying to suck that health away. Really nice cast to drop them back, but goes forced to flash away. Still going to go down. Score picks up the first blood onto Ghost and a nice gank in the bottom lane.
I think Inar's roam timing was timed well by KT. That's also as the Drake spawns. They're set up to take this one. Good proactive play from KT. Very difficult to make too much happen when you have Kog'Maw Varus as your damage duos, and Crazy going to be playing so safe on the GP. Let's watch the replay. They knew that both the Alistair and the Gragas were on roam duty. By the time Ghost could use any of his abilities, he was already desperately low. The killer's picked up, the flash is drawn out. This time score does hit the W. They take down the Swain.
And it means that Ghost has used everything except his teleport, so we'll see if they can set up another kill down on the bottom side. Already half of the ultimate down on its cooldown here for score. That's really what I was calling for. You know, the play there onto Ghost. It was after the stopwatch was available, but ended up working out either way. Ignar comes in for a gank. He's been roaming around the map. You can tell he really wants to make something work, but so far, no luck.
I'm sure a lot of people will look at the first item from the Varus, say, where's the Duskblade? Because since the last time Lethality Varus was a thing, Duskblade has been buffed for ranged users. However, it's a short cooldown escape ability, a ghost ability, if you will, to avoid ganks. He doesn't want to have to flash or heal every time an enemy champion shows up, so just popping the Yomus for a bit of safety is going to be Yukal in the mid lane.
Crazy doing the most damage in the game so far up against the Gnar. Probably has the most gold as well. Maybe Tempt has more, but as you mentioned, yeah, already with only the Yomus, the Azir is losing 1/3 of his health, if not more.
I've actually been so surprised that Varus hasn't been picked more than he has. I think this champion should be contested every game. The mid lane is, of course, a new wrinkle to deal with flex pick Varus, but ever since they hotfix buffed him on this patch to have either 0.1 more total AD, so if you start the game with 80 AD, that's 8 damage more on your Q at level 1, or 0.15 if it's fully charged. The champion is already really strong. Itemization is better. We already mentioned Duskblade is strong on the Varus. The new Lord Dominic's is strong because it's total armor penetration, so you actually get value from the item onto low armor targets as well. There's other reasons that the champion is strong right now. The W means that you do even more damage on your Q with the missing health damage as well. In multiple different ways, Varus with Comet is strong. The Rage Blade option in bot lane is still strong. I think we'll see more Varus bans in the future. For BBQ, though, it will be their second Ocean Drake of the game.
It's a good pickup. Third one is going to come in as well, so if you're dealing with this, right, imagine a late game where the Varus just chunks your Azir for half health or your Kindred. Triple Ocean. You just wait, 5, 10, 15 seconds. You should be rounding out your health near full, so it's actually not half bad against what KT have in their composition. Trying to bait them in here, though. The cast comes in. Core level 10 is still going to be able to turn it around here. There is the Pulverize on a trick, but they want to get Ghost. They know he doesn't have a stopwatch. Force out the Lambs for Spike. Can they get the follow-up? Depth really trying to poke him down. Here comes Yukal, looking for the Chains of Corruption. Get him down. And there you go. He didn't have his flash, but still going to commit to the Chains of Corruption, and he picks up a kill for the Varus in the mid lane.
First rotation by the Varus instead of the Azir like we might have expected. Tempt was already near the blue. He might have been claiming blue. I'm not 100% sure about the time, but Yomu's into a kill. Nicely done by Yukal, and I think it's Rift Herald for KT if they can pick it up. Let's understand what happened here. It's double control wars. That does mean that KT and the Varus will have first rotation. Watching the minimap to understand this one, seems like, yeah, Azir just respecting vision, and the Varus able to Yomu's over. So much damage done at the start, no threat onto death, because already the cooldowns were down. A bit too easy for the side of KT Rolster.
Tempt actually shuffled away from the fight. He probably ate a... Okay, Tempt, speaking of eating stuff, is going to die. A hit to the eye there from Score means that Yukal will pick up the Rift Herald, and a kill in the Rift Herald, not half bad for KT.
Tempt just didn't have map awareness. Behind him came the Alistair, headbutted him into the threats. He goes down, and now mid lane turret's down, and okay, KT Rolster with an immense amount of siege even early into the game. 2 Dirks already completed onto Yukal. Get the mid lane turret, roam away, no punishment onto the no summoners Varus, and it's going to be a pretty non-interactive siege game for KT Rolster.
Yeah, you gotta love it when your mid Varus is getting his Dirks out, just owning the mid lane up against Azir. It's really not close. I was talking about how he was shifting away, shuffling away, and that's probably because he ate a arrow to the face from the Varus. But let's take a look at this play.
Tempt comes in on vision and on control wards, and then Mata says, yes, please, I would like one large chicken. I mean, it's BBQ chicken, so I guess that's the right place to order. That was an attempted Shurima shuffle onto 3, but interrupted by Mata. What a monster.
Yeah. Certainly, KT just having their fill of chicken tonight. Can pick up some out the door if they want after potentially defeating BBQ here. Let's take a look at the jungle stats. So far, it's been in favor of Score. His Sejuani been looking a lot better than the Kindred on the Rift so far.
Trick this time has been really focused on proactive ganks. It's been his actual defensive coverage, Kindred, that we've liked. He's 2-1 on the pick so far in recent memory. These lane ganks he's tried have been very low percentage, got bopped on the head by Smeb as he disengaged on top side. Hasn't been able to push up and take too many marks, so just seems like one of those unfortunate games, the welfare Kindred, Centerlink Kindred, as we like to call it, for being Aussie. And unfortunately, now he's hanging around for a turret dive that's never going to happen because there's no one to dive.
Well, I mean, speaking of who's diving who, Tempt does have his flash, and the rest of BBQ are stuck behind. Trick here does have his Lamb's Respite, but Mata gonna blow his own ultimate. The Cannon Barrage is getting huge amounts of value here. Score gonna have to flash away. Yukel going 1v2 up in the top side. Is gonna try to burst down Ghost, and he does! There you go, gets the kill, and the follow-up engage down to the bottom side. There's the Lamb's Respite, but the rest of KT getting a little bit too in it right now. Score gonna go down, as well as Death, as he has no escape. There you go, BBQ able to strike back.
They are able to strike back. The Varus gets a single kill and gets out. Unfortunately, the rest of KT are going to be collapsed upon. It's a very big investment to make this play happen. There's 5 members bot lane. So Smeb is just going to push. He had teleport the entire time. He just left everyone to die.
He says, would you like a Meganar to help out in the team fight? Nah, you know, I'll just I'll farm up the jungle, let me push a little bit, maybe a little chip damage on the top turret. That sounds good. Yeah, realistically, probably should have TP'd. Maybe, yeah, it wasn't actually available.
It wasn't available at the start, no, but this is a very, very extended engage. Mata comes for the face check. Let's see when the teleport could have come to understand if we should truly be criticizing. The Gangplank is just walking down the entire time. Yukel makes a really nice play on the top side here. Ghost overrates his damage, thinks he can get the solo kill, but Yukel holds on to flash heal the entire time. Kind of punks him in a big way. Teleport is going to be up in a few seconds' time.
Still not available.
It's not available right now, so let's be fair to Smeb. By the time he could teleport, it's over. Yep. Retracted is the comment about Smeb, yes, but retracted. For KT, they are walking up when they don't have teleport, so it seems like everyone except Smeb is the problem.
Yeah, you know, KT, I'm sure they're feeling really confident, maybe a little bit excited about their early game. The Varus, I mean, looking really good, picks up the Duskblade. Eventually, here is the second item. But now it's Smeb looking to be dunked here, 3-on-1. You see Score coming up the river, too. Tempt just waiting for it, is going to totally whip. I don't even know what to say about that one. Smeb is going to be...
He sidestepped it as well!
He's got his happy feet on. Does he survive is the question. And the answer is no. It looked cool. Meanwhile, you know, BBQ is spending their entire budget on killing Smeb. They're going to lose 2 turrets for it.
Smeb is so good at the top lane. Yes, he shouldn't have been overextended to begin, but the sidesteps there were beautiful to see. The play from Azir also left a bit to be desired, but I'm going to focus on the good play and the fact that in the meantime, Yukel said, thank you very much. I've got a lot of attack damage. Your mid lane in a turret is gone.
I love how you got so excited you just like took over the play-by-play halfway through. It's like, oh my god, Smeb's so good.
He is.
He's really good.
Let's watch the replay. Gnar walks up and he thinks, yeah, somebody could be coming. It's in fact the entire team in a conga line. So Smeb respects the first Azir move and then predicts the ultimate there. Smeb also sidesteps the barrel, and that's actually really impressive to sidestep the Gragas cask. Still dies anyway, but I'm a fan.
They spent everything, right? The whole budget was thrown out the window and said we really needed to get this one guy. In the end, it wasn't worth it. So, down in gold now is BBQ. 2,000 gold lead to the side of KT, who's winning in scuttles, by the way, 7-1. Always a interesting secondary stat we can look at, as the jungle control has been mostly to the side of Score.
We should also talk about how many damn Dirks this Varus has.
Oh, yeah.
Reached his third Dirk power spike.
That's a lot of Dirks, Papa.
It is a lot of Dirks. It does mean that some people are taking true damage, especially good old Tempt, who did not go an arm guard in this matchup or into the Ninja Tabi. That is bold. The Azir is going to get chunked in a really big way.
You don't see many men with that many Dirks, but I suppose it's a bit of a rarity that we have here over at the LCK. We'll see what he can do. Love the cooldown boots. Knows what he's going for as well.
I believe he had Transcendence, so 40% CDR means the damage is really going to hurt the members of BBQ right now. Smeb steals away a blue buff. A lot of map control because they have the inner turret in mid down comically early into the game. The double oceans were nice, but I don't think any amount of water is going to save you from how much damage Yukal is going to do.
Yeah. I just know that after this game, the one downside from this is, you know, not BBQ losing. We might have them drop to relegations. Maybe we don't get any more chicken. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the next solo queue game where all of my mid laners are going to play mid lane Varus and go 0-5.
Really? You're worried about...
by the Lee Sin over and over and over again. It's going to happen, Papa. You and I know it.
Valdez, in the last 24 hours, it's been a Quinn and a Teemo in the LCK. I'm really not worried about the mid lane Varus.
I don't know, I've seen a lot of it really just fall flat on its face, especially early on in 2017. It was not a good time for solo queue. We already have enough Teemo. Quinn, you know, we see it from time to time. It's actually, as you mentioned during the game, it's actually really good in solo queue, especially if you can get ahead. You just dominate your lane, and then you're just ganking all the lanes, and you're everywhere, basically.
You're a more optimistic man than I about Teemo and some of these picks. I'm a big fan of the Q-Max Varus. Gives you a lot of map control if it doesn't die repeatedly early. You are a one-man siege machine. Speaking of siege, Death's build was a bit peculiar. He went from Vamp Scepter and Recurve Bow into Wit's End and also the Rapid Fire Cannon before he actually completed his Play the Rune King. Still doesn't have it.
Are they going to expend their whole budget now onto Smeb again? Doesn't look like it. We see the Kindred hanging around, but it's 2-on-1. The red buff does slow him down just a bit, but the blasting plant is here. Even smacks down the barrel before Crazy can do anything about it.
Meanwhile, losing a lot of map control on top side. There's going to be a fallback Baron really soon for Katie. They have a lot of vision supremacy around the Baron.
Yeah, Score just waiting in the wings here. It's funny how much room Death has had in this game so far. I was questioning the Kog'Maw, but really BBQ have not been able to get anything going in terms of just getting on top of that Kog'Maw at all. He's been sitting there in the side lane, doing his thing.
And Deft, what I can say is even in the Kai'Sa loss, which was that third game against Kingzone, his orb walking and team fighting on the Kai'Sa was outrageous. He is probably the most impressive Kog'Maw player I've ever seen. Back in 5 attack speed Kog'Maw days, he could still start a step auto in a way that shouldn't have been possible. So I'm certainly excited about teamfight Kog'Maw, as Smeb is just never going to successfully get ganked. They're sending so many members to kill him, but he keeps blowing up the barrels and not even getting slowed.
Yeah. Turns out he has more attack speed than the gun of the Gangplank.
All right, Gragas is here.
Yeah, Mata looking to come in from behind, but unfortunately, Yukal in a lot of trouble. Is going to be crit down from that E from Trick. Now Mata in a bad spot is going to be forced to flash away. Deft looking to help out on the side here, but Mata taking a lot of damage. Down goes the ultimate. That's going to be 2 kills to the side of BBQ, and now they have their sights set now onto the Baron, and I'm not sure what KT can do to stop it.
They're definitely going to try something. They still have Kog'Maw and the Gnar. Mega Gnar bar is a little bit over 50%. What happens now?
They get the vision in the pit. They're looking to take the 2v2 on the side, but now here comes the turn from BBQ. Looking to turn on to Score, but there's the stone plate. Smeb going to take a lot of damage, but Crazy on the other side will as well. Definitely going to orb walk, but Score and Smeb super low. KT, they're so good at this, but can they actually stop it? The Lambs are spite here, perhaps just for the heal. In goes Smeb and knocks 3 of them into the wall, but Azir is going to pick up the Baron in the end. And unfortunately, down goes the Gnar, so KT Uh-oh, Papa. This is not looking so good.
It definitely is a sidestep away from victory here for the side of KT. It was so close. Score couldn't get into the pit, and the Baron fell down to 200 health. And of all people, the Azir is the one to pick it up. Def ran low on mana, couldn't finish off any of the kills. BBQ get away with the highway robbery.
KT, they're always very famously good at stopping Barons with as little as possible, but unfortunately 3v5 was too much to ask this time around.
To start to watch the end of this fight, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it was the perfect Lamb's Respite that it wasn't actually onto the Baron. Because remember, Lamb's Respite does force the Baron to stay alive and you can't smite through it. Sword comes over the wall and can't quite get there. Cannot actually get the smite, and thus BBQ pick it up, and suddenly KT's siege comp can't siege against the Baron.
I mean, KT picks up the Baron, they push in to win the game, perhaps. BBQ pick up the Baron, and all of a sudden your Azir is scaling, your Kindred, your Gangplank, your Swain's going to be a body blocker alongside of the Gragas, and now KT have developed a problem as the game goes a little bit later. Things were very light-hearted early on, but now they take a turn for the worse.
KT versus these bottom teams are always like this, Valdez. Every time you think the KT are set up to win, they are just a bit too bold. They get a bit too excited about how far ahead they are in the early game, and things go sideways. This game is definitely not over. They still have a 3-item Cogmore who can rain down hell on the enemy, but for now, for the Baron buff duration, crazy split pushes, a lot of good things happen, and BBQ now can have the confidence that the right engage onto either Varus or the Cogmore, then things can really go from bad to worse for KT.
Even worse is BBQ just picked up their own secret agent 007 up on the top side. Crazy, getting stronger and stronger. Looking for that Storm Razor next. We'll see if he can begin to fight up against the Gnar, who only picked up the Guardian Angel. But you can see what even Tempt can do in the side lane by himself. It's a sight to behold as he nearly takes out the inner turret in the bottom side.
KT getting down that mid lane turret, the double turret in mid, was how that all started. That's why they had the angle to kill the Varus. We never got a replay of that, but Varus understandably overextended in that scenario. Now the dive is being threatened here.
Cannon Barrage gonna zone them out alongside of some barrels, and they're able to pick up another turret in the mid lane. You can see now how the gold has shifted. Tempt is not going to commit to taking out the inner turret in the bottom side. I think maybe he could have, but would have been dangerous. Either way, BBQ land themselves in a really solid gold lead here as we cross the 30-minute mark.
And Trix kind of randomly 4-0-3 because his early game was unable to get too many marks, get too much snowball, but he's cleaned up a couple of fights in a row and now has a lot of items. He's got the Black Cleaver and Rapid Fire Cannon. Was building both of them at the same time, very common see Phage. And also the workings of a Rapid Fire Cannon onto this Kindred. So a bit of threat being shown there. Like you mentioned, Crazy thrift shopped his way to 3 items as well. And now it's really all on execution between BBQ and KT.
That's definitely a little KT graph for you guys down on the bottom side. They had the lead. They were almost at 4,000 gold.
Death's on a ward, Death's on a ward.
Oh boy, this could mean death for him. Gonna wait till the last moment, go for it. In goes Tempt. Def forced to flash away. Fortunately, not the best execution there from the side of BBQ means that Def does survive and no kill will be had.
Yeah, that should almost certainly have been a kill for BBQ. That's a botch on the execution. They waited, and then they could have waited another half second to really catch him in the shot, but either way, should have been a kill. They don't get one. Def gets away, only flash down on the Cogmore.
Yeah, the flash on Ignar wasn't exactly available. There was about 10 seconds left, so they needed to have the Azir come in, but I suppose he was a little bit not so confident after what happened in the top side up against Smeb. And so didn't go for the good shuffle right away. Just wanted to bait out the flash, I suppose.
All right, KT. Now it's all about slow and steady. Put down your control wards. Get the actual poke out of Yukal rather than having Yukal exploded at the start of a fight and then engage. Front to back, it is pretty scary to fight against BBQ. So it's very much about getting your siege on, getting the poke down. Mid lane is already long. They took down the mid lane inner turret much, much earlier into the game. Problem-solving a way to win this game for KT. Baron is now expired. It's going to be very much about the map movements here for KT Rolster.
Yeah, they still do have the Kog'Maw scaling his way up towards the end of this game as well. Another mark picked up there for Trick. He has 5 right now. So, I mean, you mentioned just very quietly scaling up. Here's the Kindred. That's one scary Kindred. Can also build into his own GA third if you would like to. Has the stopwatch still available. Mata looking for the engage though, is just gonna burn his ultimate. Kind of caught in an awkward spot here now. As Smeb is
really
very, very far away here. Trick getting low, the flash in, but Mata and Def die. A big botch there, and now Smeb is gonna go down too. Gonna be caught all alone here. Down will go his GA, and oh man, I said it before, uh-oh is the only thing I have on my mind. What is going on for the side of KT?
Sound like a good idea in their heads. Get the deep teleport, make it happen, but their front line is brittle and front to back. BBQ are able to beat them. Now BBQ Olivers continue to push in. They control the map, and Baron spawns in 35. It's gonna have to be a very late contest by KT.
Well, BBQ, you know, they haven't had the cleanest game so far, but fortunately for them, KT, a couple of times in a row now, have kind of just given them a couple of kills. They've allowed themselves to take a huge lead in this one.
And they're against double TP, so there's always the chance that you can't just go for a gank alone. Def doesn't have flash. He used it in the bot lane. They should have remembered that, but instead Def dies for free. This was really poorly played by KT. It does happen from time to time. A far cry from the team that was able to outplay some of the best teams in team fights with Realm Warps. We're back to the Baron. We're back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, gonna get some vision onto Ignar. Score waiting in the wings now, looking for the smite. Is gonna get his ultimate down, and he has that. Oh man, look at the damage coming out of depth here. Looking for the steal. It's gonna get down to it, and he gets the Baron. KT. It is the roller coaster after all, and we're at the height of it now. Looking for another kill on a Trick, who is very, very fed at this point, but there's the snipe, and the shutdown gold will go over to you, Cal, after getting the Baron.
Sometimes you steal the Baron, and now your Pokecom has Baron as well. Hooray for KT Rolster. You guys know the meme for the post-game thread. They do everything wrong, but they get a Baron with a smite, and now they win.
They're playing with my heart, man. You frame the fight that we had right before that one, and you don't think that it's KT if you remove the nameplates. You think maybe it's BBQ.
The game's over, Valdez.
It's over now, as that fight was immaculate. Just unbelievably
The
clean.
macro this game, unbelievable.
This team doesn't look like they can be defeated at all. They're just way too clean after all. And now Mata is going to butt heads with Tempt, as they say. We are going to take the victory here. Struggling a little bit to take it down, but you, Cal, and Smep on the left side will be able to do it. Playing with our hearts is KT. It was the KT Rolster this time around.
It's always KT Rolster. There will always be games like this. Sometimes they win them, sometimes they lose them. Not the best practice for a best of 5 against one of our better teams, but KT only has to fight in the mud. Remember, their run-in is only teams in the bottom 4. And well, KT sometimes plays to the level of their opposition. They get a bit too excited. They make some bad plays. In the end, a smite, and then the Siege Comp somehow gets a free Baron. Happy times for KT Rolster. They win.
Yeah, you know, against a better team, you play like that, you're going to get demolished, right? They're going to bait you at Baron. They're going to abuse the vision. They'll abuse their lead. They're going to look for the perfect shuffle, the good engage with the Gragas cask, all you would want with their comp. But BBQ say, no, we have the lead. Let's go for a 50-50 Baron and get poked out of the Baron and die.
Let's talk about doing something about the enemy smite in a 50-50 Baron. You do not keep the Baron and deep damaging it to 3,000. They made that choice.
They pulled in Score. He has the stone plate.
They had to pull him in 7,000 health ago. The Kog'Maw was free hitting the entire time. Trick didn't smite, and they lost the Baron. Could you have done anything more bad? Probably not.
No. No, you couldn't have, actually. Literally nothing else they could have done wrong in that one. It's really unfortunate for BBQ, but KT, you could see the coach is a bit livid after that one. That is not a game where your coach is going to be happy no doubts, even though it was immaculate and clean and the strongest macro team we have in LCK. But guys, we're going to take a bit of a break here before we go into game number 2. We'll be back.